Hello Cowboys Nation, welcome to another video, and without further ado, let's get to another round of news from America's team. 3 changes the Cowboys can make to try and turn the season around. The Dallas Cowboys bye week has come and gone, and all we can assume is that the coaches and players went into the lab to try and fix the myriad reasons this team is not as good as the sum of its parts. When practice starts this week, the Cowboys will prepare for a Sunday night football date with the San Francisco 49ers in Santa Clara for the second consecutive season. This bye week will either be the turning point of the season or the final nail in the coffin. The direction of this team relies on how the players respond. If last year's bye week is any indication, the season is about to get turned around. Last season, the Cowboys entered the bye week at 4-2, and went on a 6-1 run after the bye to put them at the top of the NFC East and in contention for the top spot in the conference. The difference is, this season, they will run through a 5-game stretch immediately after the bye that might be the toughest stretch of any team this year. Today, I want to discuss 3 changes that HC Mike McCarthy can make to turn this team around after the bye week. Spark the RB room. One of the least impactful positions on the Cowboys roster right now is the running back position. Dallas ranks dead last in the NFL in rush yards per game, and essentially every other metric used to determine the effectiveness of a run game. Rico Dowdle has been leading the charge, and currently sits as the team's leading rusher with 246 yards on 59 rushes. His yards per carry average sits at a healthy 4.2 yards, but just watching the game, you can see the ineffectiveness of the running game. Dalvin Cook has been preheating on the practice squad since before the season started, and I really don't see why the Cowboys haven't given him a shot in the backfield on the game day 46-man roster. It can't get any worse, and the film shows Dowdle is repeatedly failing to recognize running lanes. His vision needs work, which can be expected from an inexperienced runner. Cook is a veteran who might come in and spark the rushing attack with his vision. Cook might not have the explosiveness he once had, but time and time again we have seen veteran savvy be more beneficial than youth. All he needs is a chance. The Cowboys also could trade for a running back, but the way our front office operates, that is the least likely scenario. Make a switch at safety. When the defense was coordinated by Dan Quinn, the safety unit received a makeover. Quinn made safeties in Dallas relevant again, and he got the best out of players like Donovan Wilson, Malik Hooker, Marquise Bell, and Wanya Thomas. In my eyes, the time has come to bench Wilson and Hooker and give the younger guys a chance. Thomas and Bell have mostly seen special teams snaps, rarely stepping on the field as members of the defense. Thomas and Bell have received 27 and 23 defensive snaps, respectively. That's not nearly enough for their talent to make an impact, especially on a defense that has played so poorly. Let Thomas and Bell get starters snaps in practice this week and see if they can be any more effective than the current starters. Use the QBs legs. This one is one that I have been clamoring for since last season. Get Dak Prescott more carries in the running game. He needs more designed runs to help spark an anemic offensive attack. Prescott has used his legs sparingly since his gruesome injury during the 2020 season, and for good reason. The Cowboys' passing attack has been one of the strengths of the team since McCarthy's arrival in 2020. He hasn't needed to use his legs to spark the offense, but this season is a different story. Teams have figured out that the Cowboys' running game isn't a threat, and outside of wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, nobody on offense scares the defense. Prescott was one of the best rushers from the quarterback position early in his career. In 61 games before his injury, Dak rushed 259 times for 1,314 yards and 24 touchdowns. In 45 games after his injury, those numbers have significantly dropped to 157 rushes for 595 yards and 5 touchdowns. Involving Prescott in the offense with more designed runs can be the key to unlocking success for the rest of the season. Dallas Cowboys trade deadline plans revealed by Jerry Jones. The Dallas Cowboys return from a much-needed bye week on Sunday, October 27th, with a difficult test against the San Francisco 49ers. Another important date for the team could be the 2024 NFL trade deadline is on Tuesday, November 5th. Currently sitting at 3-3, the Cowboys aren't completely out of the mix and sit just one game back in the NFC East. Depending on how things go this Sunday and in Week 8 when they return, the team could be in good shape entering the final half of the season. But, if the team falls to 3-4 entering November, there is hope that Jerry Jones will make a move by the deadline to improve the roster or address issues like running back and wide receiver that have been obvious for years. Unfortunately, no one in Cowboys Nation expects that to happen. And Jerry Jones doesn't either. According to The Athletic's Diana Rossini, Jerry said that Dallas won't be making roster moves before the NFL trade deadline in November. Should we be surprised? The team has continuously brushed off addressing obvious holes on the roster. Despite Jerry saying that the team is all in for 2024, he has done nothing to show that. The only thing he appears to be all in on is running out the clock on the season and using Mike McCarthy as a scapegoat. Cowboys will make an effort to trade to potential $75 million star. If there is a running back who might single-handedly be able to step in and help the Cowboys from the get-go, given his versatility and style of play, it would likely be Alvin Kamara of the New Orleans Saints. Kamara is an excellent downhill runner who operates well out of the passing game, and began his career with 4 straight seasons of 80 catches or more. Kamara is not quite what he used to be, now at age 29, but he is still an effective back with a good burst, as the Cowboys saw firsthand in Week 2, when Kamara put up a season-high 115 yards and 3 touchdowns in the Saints' blowout win. Kamara is still a quality veteran who could, perhaps, be had at the November 5th trading deadline, especially with the injury-ravaged Saints spiraling to 5 straight losses since beating Dallas. His contract would complicate a trade, but would not make it impossible. Kamara could sign an extension that replaces next year's deal and spreads the money out over 2 or 3 years. The biggest question, though, is whether Kamara could still be a major threat in the ground game. The 5-time Pro Bowler has dropped off, going from a league-high 6.1 yards per carry as a rookie in 2017, down to 3.9 yards over the last 4 seasons.